Hi, and thanks for joining us on Live with Squacky. I'm Val Kelly, voice actor, owner, president, CEO, and executive producer of Mid-Atlantic Voiceover LLC. Our special guest today is Rachael Naylor. Rachael is a London-based voice actor, and she's also the owner of the Voiceover Network. We're so excited for you to join us today. Thanks for coming on our show, Rachael.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. So I was looking at your website, which is fantastic, and I noticed that you have a background in acting. So tell us how you got started in voiceover.
So yes, I'm an actor first and foremost. My grandfather was an actor, so I grew up watching him from a very young age on the stage in the West End, in films, and he had an amazing voice, and he used to read the news as well, the movie time news, for anyone who knows what that is, and so he was my inspiration. He was an amazing actor, so that's where my love of acting came from, and I started doing acting at a very young age. I used to do a lot of musicals growing up, so that was where I started, and then I went to drama school. I kind of from the earliest age I can remember, I've always wanted to be an actor. That was always, I made the decision very, very young, and so that was always going to be my direction. And so went to drama school, loved it, and at drama school we had an amazing voice teacher. She was quite tough on me, I remember that, but I remember she was the one who said to me, you should think about doing voiceovers. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know about that, we'll see. But I knew that I really enjoyed doing the radio drama section. We didn't do a lot of radio drama at drama school, but we did do a little bit, and I remember really enjoying it. So anyway, out of drama school, a couple of years later, I saw an advert for a free 2-hour workshop on voiceovers, and I went along, and it was one of those things, like the first time I stood in front of the microphone, I just knew in my heart it was where I was meant to be. I just had that real feeling of coming home. Yeah. And this was like 17 years ago. So it was a very different world, the voiceover world back then.
Oh, definitely.
It was, unrecognizable really. Because back then you had to have an agent to get work. You didn't have home studios unless you had a lot of money. And there was no MP3s. It was all, it was all CDs. And so you had to make your CDs up at home. So I remember I had my voice reel done, and I made my CDs up and made a mess of it and sent them out and went down to the post office. And it was very, very different back then. But I'm very, very grateful every single day for the voiceover work that I do. And I love this industry.
That's awesome. So what are 3 of the top things that you've learned in the industry since you started that you could share with us?
Oh, just 3? God, there are so many things that I have learnt about, oh gosh. So I think one is that I think the number one thing is to believe in yourself. That is, and not to let other people, don't listen to, believe in your talent. And that is the key. Another one would be helping others. I remember seeing, that there are it's an amazing community that we have. Voiceover artists are a really unique breed and of people. And one of the wonderful things is that we help each other. And I think that that's something that is so key in any industry, really, in terms of success. Whenever you meet really successful people, they're usually giving away their information and helping others. And so I think that in terms of that is a real key to somebody being successful, is when they help others, and it's helping other people without expecting anything in return.
Right.
And that's 2. And then number 3 would be, I think one of the most important things, yes, talent is very important, obviously, but the business side of voiceovers is the key. And you see it in so many different industries where, we all know that brilliant actor, right, who's working in a bar, or that fantastic guitarist who's working, you know, in a burger joint. And same with voiceovers. You know, there are voiceover artists out there who are amazingly talented, but if they don't know how to market themselves, they will never make it. So you have average voiceover artists doing really, really well because they understand the marketing. And so the business side of voiceovers, I think, is where people fall down. And that's where I struggled for years and years. And I recognized that was something that, because I'm an actor and I did performing arts and I never studied business studies. And so I made the conscious decision to learn about business and about marketing, and I threw myself into that world and gave myself the name of an entrepreneur, and I joined an entrepreneurs network and just learned tons. And then ended up winning entrepreneur awards. It's all been kind of quite crazy. So yes, that's something that I think is absolutely key.
Definitely. I think without the marketing or business knowledge, it's very difficult to be a successful voice actor because, like you said, you don't have the knowledge behind it, and there's no basis for what you're doing. Then you're just trying to be an actor, but you can't get your actual voice out there if no one knows who you are, and it's really about putting yourself out there. So yeah, that's really important.
And even with an agent, so even when you have an agent, you know, the successful voiceover artists are the ones that go to networking events. You know, they hustle, they follow up with people, they're on social media, you know, because you have to help your agent. So yeah,
it's a nonstop kind of a job. You can't just sit back and hope that your agent is going to get you work. You have to actually be doing a lot of work yourself, and then they send you auditions. But you know, there's a lot of in between stuff that I think people do think, oh, I have an agent now, I don't have to do anything. That's not the case at all.
No, that's when the work really begins.
Yeah. So you have a very impressive list of clients. How did you build yourself to the point where you were booking that type of work?
Gosh, a lot of hard work, and it doesn't happen overnight. So that's the main thing. I think that there are people who come into the industry and they think, right, okay, I want to make it really, really quick. But actually, it's about the hard graft, and it is a marathon. I got lots and lots of knockbacks early on in my career, a lot. And it took me years and years to book my first job and years to get my first agent. And so it's about, digging. You're going to have to dig deep and believing in yourself. And so for me, I had the knockbacks and I just kept going because I just believed in myself and I knew that this was where I was meant to be going. So just powering through, and that's it.
Yeah,
really.
definitely. So what was it like? I saw that you are represented by Atlas Talent, which is amazing. So what was it like to get signed by Atlas? That's really impressive.
Fantastic. They're an amazing agency, and I'm very grateful to be on their books. That happened last year. Yes, last year. And they're incredible. It felt absolutely brilliant. They're my first agent in the US as well. So I have an amazing agent here in the UK. I'm with Excellent Talent, and I love those guys. And then to be with Atlas in the States it's brilliant. They're wonderful, and I love all the guys at Atlas. I just feel very, very honoured to be with them. So really
absolutely wonderful. They're a fantastic agency. I've heard all really good things about them. So congratulations on that. That's great. So tell us about the VoiceOver Network, how you started it, what your vision is for that, because it's it seems like it's grown a lot over the past few years, especially. And so tell us the background of that.
So the VoiceOver Network it's about, the main thing about the VoiceOver Network is it's about helping, supporting and strengthening the voiceover industry. And that does drive everything that we do. It started from me being a working voiceover artist, loving the industry. And there wasn't anything happening in the UK events wise and training wise. And I remember feeling quite frustrated by that because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to train more, but all the courses were for, you know, how to become a voiceover artist. They were all beginner courses, and there was no networking events. And it was actually, I remember I got involved with some business stuff, and I started looking at where my best clients were coming from and realized it was through networking. So I wanted to create more networking, you know, opportunities. And in 2013, I went for a drink with 3 other voiceover artists in Richmond, West London, just down the road from me. And it was a fantastic night. It was really useful. We shared lots of information. We talked about marketing. We talked about agents. We talked about quoting. And I thought we should do this more often. And I think because I'd seen there seemed to be a lot going on in the States, you know, watching social media. And so I started a little meetup group, which was a monthly meetup group. And it was initially called, the first name for the voiceover network, check this out, really, really catchy, the West London Voiceover Artists Meetup Group. So it didn't really roll off the tongue. The West London Voiceover Artist Meetup Group. Anyway, that was the first name for the voiceover network, and it just snowballed from there. So, you know, every month it got bigger and bigger, and voiceover artists from other parts of London started contacting me saying, do I have to live in West London? If I live in North London, can I come? And I'm like, yeah, anyone's welcome. And it was just we're going to be in this pub, come down, it'll be fun. So then I thought, okay, why don't we make it central London, and then it's easy for everyone to get to. And then we had an event, we had like 30 people turn up, and I thought, okay, right, you know, we need to give this a better name. And so then beginning in 2014, it was named the Voiceover Network, and I went and had a logo made, and I felt very grown up. And it continued to be a monthly meetup. So I named it, I gave it the name of the Voiceover Network, and went and had a logo made, which felt very grown up. And then we continued to have monthly meetups in a bar in central London. And then I thought I wanted to make it more useful, so to get agents and producers and casting directors to make it a better networking environment. And so we had an event where we charged so that we could provide, you know, some food and booze for the agents and producers, get them in the room, and that went really well. And then we started having speakers at events, and we had an event that sold out in less than 90 minutes. And I thought, okay,
wow,
this is good. End of 2014, I looked at the industry. I looked at how it had changed over the years, and the massive boom that was happening. All these people coming into the industry, that there was no central hub to come to get help and advice for people already in the industry. So I wanted to provide somewhere safe for working voiceover artists to come and get, you know, help and support, but also those coming into the industry, somewhere that they could come and get trusted information, get support, feel like they're part of the community. Because I think I could see that lots of people coming into the industry, lots of people in the industry were getting very angry about the rates going down, and, you know, who are all these people to come into our industry? And so I wanted to stop that, and I wanted to create a kind of hub. So beginning of 2015, I launched the Voiceover Network as a membership organization in order to help support and strengthen the voiceover industry. Because I'm a big believer in bringing people together and sharing and helping each other. And I think that something really beautiful happens when people do that. And it has. And 3 years later, I am just honoured when I look at the amazing community the Voiceover Network has, and we are all around the world. So it started in London, but we literally have members all around the world, in America, Canada, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Australia, New Zealand, Nigeria, all over Europe. It just blows my mind.
That's great.
And as part of that, we have events, we have training in person and online. We have the Buzz magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. I've got one here.
Gosh.
I'm so proud of this. This is the only magazine in the world dedicated to the voiceover industry.
That's awesome.
And it's a print magazine. And in fact, look, there we go. Look at that. Who's that? There we go.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
And that wasn't even planned. Literally, I was like, oh, look. So the Buzz magazine, which, it came from me, like, being like, why is there no magazine for our industry? Every industry has a magazine. And so I was like, right, I'm going to start one. So we have a magazine. We have the Voiceover Hour webinar, which is every 2 weeks. And as a member, you get access to all the past webinars. There's an online resource center with loads and loads of information and help and support. We've got a Facebook group. And there's discounts as well on our partners' products and services. You get a one-to-one with our sound engineer. There's loads going on. So, and it's really, there's a really, really wonderful community of people sharing. So whether you are, so we have very, very experienced members, and we have people who are new to the industry. And it is much more about the working voiceover artist now. So we have changed things up. So you have to apply now to join the voiceover network. And the reason why we did that was because we've grown so fast. I wanted to build on the amazing community that we've got. And so we've made it an application process, but we also have a workshop for people who are new to the industry. And that's called A Complete Guide to Getting Started in Voiceovers. So, so if anyone's interested in either of those, you can ping me an email. Or come to the website, thevoiceovernetwork.co.uk.
Awesome. Perfect. That's great. Well, I'm so, I'm so proud of you actually for all of the work that you've done. It's really, it's amazing to have such a great network out there for people to use as a resource. And it's a wonderful community to be in. So it's a great opportunity for people to go to those events and things like that. It's such a learning environment, which is really great.
Thank you. And we have, and members aren't just voiceover artists as well. I just want to mention that. Lots of our members are agents, producers and casting directors, anyone who's working in the industry, because a lot of people in the industry are doing both. So there are a lot of producers who are now voiceover artists and casting directors who are voiceovers. So there's, there are a lot of people who are doing both. But it is really about, coming together to share. And now that we're global, which still blows my mind, it's wonderful to think that we can all share the good stuff in our industry and help raise standards. So there's some brilliant things happening in the US, and there are some brilliant things happening in the UK. And if we can communicate and help each other with the industries on both sides of the pond, the same with, there are some really exciting things happening in the Arab market and in the Latin American market and out in Australia and New Zealand. So, by us coming together and sharing information and helping to connect, to communicate and to raise standards together, that is, it's so important and it's so powerful. There's a lot going on at the Voiceover Network, but every day I wake up and I look at it and I just think, wow. I'm really, really honored to have every single member as part of our network.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a big accomplishment. I'm sure you must be really proud of all the work that you've done. So that's great.
Thank you.
So what are some goals that you have for yourself in your voiceover career over the next few months?
So as well as doing the Voiceover Network and all of that, events and the magazine and stuff, I am still a working voiceover artist, a busy voiceover artist. For me at the moment, I think, I'm, as I said, very grateful every time a script comes through or my agent calls and get booked for things. I've done a lot of commercials, promos, imaging. I've done a lot of those and documentaries and things. And so for me, I've recently got very much into video games. And I feel like that's going back to my roots, my acting roots. And I love doing video games. So that's something that I've got a couple of very exciting ones coming up, which I can't talk about, of course.
Of course.
I know the old NDAs. But yeah, so video games is something that I'm really excited about. And animation as well. I haven't done enough animation, and I would love to explore that area of my goals and career. So that's, those are some things that,
Cool. Well, they say speak it into existence, so you just did. So that's good.
Yes, that's it.
What are some major differences you see between the voiceover work in the US and voiceover work in the UK?
So I think some big differences are that in the UK, you still get booked from your reel. And in the US, you have to audition for everything. Yeah. Which is quite interesting. And that's, it is starting to change a bit in the UK. So we are auditioning more and more, and obviously for the really big stuff, and for video games you do audition and animation, and the big commercials, but generally you get booked from your reel in the UK, which is brilliant. Which has been quite a sort of, for me, you know, signing with a US agent, suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, all these auditions come through,
Right.
which is a shift, and it's a change, and it's like, oh, okay, so you know, so that's I think that's the biggest difference. And then obviously, and sorry, go on.
I think you know, I've been booked directly from my reel, but it's very specific work, you know, like talking toys and stuff like that. So I think it kind of depends on the type of work, but there are most of the time I do have to audition, but I think it is possible to get booked from your demo, but I think it's kind of rare, like you said, in the US to have that happen. Like I've had it happen a couple of times, but most of the time they'll say like, oh, we like your voice. And then they'll send you like a short snippet of something to be like, can you just formally do this for us, even though we know that we want to hire you? But I don't think that's the norm for most people. I think it's like, I've just been kind of lucky, I guess, in that respect. But
it is great to be booked from your reel, because you're like, you know, you just get the phone call and you're like, you're in. So sorry. But yeah, so that's kind of, I think that's a big difference. And then I think the union aspect of things is very different in the US and the UK. So you have a very strong union with SAG-AFTRA, and you have the kind of the union and the non-union, and this, you know, which is still, I'm you know, I'm still learning a lot about. Whereas in the UK, our union is equity, and there isn't the same sort of not union, non-union. It barely gets talked about. So you are just a voiceover artist, and you don't have to, there's no sticking to union rates. They are a guide, they're out there, and anyone can really see them. But in fact, I think most voiceover artists actually charge a higher than those rates. So, you know, there's I think there's a lot that we can learn from your union.
So you don't have, so it is a union there, or it's not?
We do have a union.
But it's not like you have, like you said, you don't have not union versus non-union. So people can kind of set their own rates. Is that what you're saying? Like,
everybody sets their own rates here.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that, because what you said was clear. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. I mean, we have a specific law where you can't set rates in the UK. So I'm not sure what the law is called, but it was brought in. I think Margaret Thatcher brought it in, and it's about the fact that, you know, you're not actually allowed to set rates. So that's made it very difficult for equity. So it's not their fault. There are laws that have made things very difficult, and it's very hard for them to set rates. So
Okay, cool. So what is some advice you could offer to voice actors who are just starting out? Because there's so many challenges, I think, when you start out, and there's so much information, but I think sometimes it's hard for new actors to kind of weed through the information and figure out, what do I really need to know? What are some words of advice that you could offer for those people?
Okay, so I think it's really interesting, because it's kind of like the opposite to when I started. When I came into the industry, there was no information, and it was all very like, shh. You know, nobody wanted to tell anyone about the voiceover industry, because they were all like, they didn't want anyone coming in. There are still some of those who are like, shh, but the cat is out of the bag now. So back then there was very little information. You know, most people were just sort of flying by the seat of their pants. And whereas now, I think people are so lucky coming into the industry, because there is so much information. But then it's that thing, it's information overload. There is so much. Where do you go? Who do you trust? There are some cowboys out there. There are a lot of people who'll take money without giving, you know, proper thought out advice. So excuse me. So I would say really, really important is to do your research.
Mhm.
Do your research, and before you go and get a reel done, before you go and pay any money to any coach or even do any workshops, just do your research. Go on the forums, read some books, read some blogs, listen to some webinars, watch some videos, and find some people working in the industry. So find voiceover artists working in the industry. It's very easy. You can go on social media, you can connect with them, you can watch what's going on, spend some time just immersing yourself in the world, absorbing information, and then look for some training. Really, really important to get some training. You want to do workshops. There are companies that, I mean, obviously we do workshops in person and online. So the Voiceover Network, I'm going to, you know, but there are other people out there who do workshops. So training workshops. The good thing about doing group workshops, I mean, one-to-one training is fantastic and coaching is excellent. So yes to that, but also group workshops can be really, really helpful, because what you do when you're in a group workshop is you learn from other people. And then a lot of the time they will ask questions that you haven't thought of, but would really benefit from the answer. So training, and just, learning lots. And then you want to get a reel done. And again, ask around, ask other people for their advice on getting a reel done. But it is, I mean, I have to say, coming into the industry right now, there has never been more voiceover work.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of work out there. You just have to have the right training, and you have to keep training. You can't just be like, well, I trained with one person and now I'm done. It's a constant thing, no matter how many years of experience you've had with it. I kind of got into voiceover in like 1999, got my foot in the door, and then I had a demo, but I didn't know what to do with it. So it sat on a shelf literally until like 2011. And when I was like, and I never forgot about it. I just kind of didn't know what to do with it, you know? And so I think that hopefully people aren't falling into that many years in between, like getting a demo done and actually getting it out there. I think there's a lot more information. Like you said, there's a lot more information now than there was when I first started. But it also, you know, the training really helps. Getting a really good demo is, you know, a bunch of really good demos actually now, because everything is so specific, right? It never used to have all of these different demos. I was talking to Lynn Norris the other day, another voice actor, and she has so many demos on her website, and I was like, whoa, I have like 2, you know, and you know, obviously need to have more done, but I need to do more. But there's so many. It's very specific now. Do you find that that's true in the UK as well, that you need to have very specific demos?
Yeah, definitely. And I think because, so, you know, there is more work than there's ever been, but there are also more voiceover artists than there have ever been. And there are people becoming voiceover artists every day. So there's more competition. Right. And in order to be successful, what you really need to do, yes, you need to be good at everything. But I think the key is to be specific, to choose specific areas. And I often say that to people, that you want to have a look at the industry, learn about the different areas of the industry, try a little bit of everything, and then choose your niche. You want to choose your niche. You want to choose your area where you really want to be headed. You're not going to stop doing other things. So, you know, you're not going to stop doing corporate or telephone on hold. But if video games is your thing, if you think that is what lights your fire, then focus on that and get a video game reel, a specific video game reel. If it's audiobooks, you know, that excites you, then follow that. You know, I know there are people out there that say, oh no, do what you're good at. I think, no, do what you love. Yeah. Do what you love, because that that ultimately is going to be the thing that you're best at, because that's the thing that's going to light your fire. That's what you're going to get excited about. You know, if you hate doing medical narrations and you have to sit down and market yourself doing medical narrations, that's going to be tough. If it's animation, but maybe you need a bit of work on your animation voices, then that's fine. That can be done. But then you're going to be excited about finding animation clients and going on workshops that are about animation and putting animation demos together and stuff. So I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, it's definitely a process. I think, especially like you said, with animation, creating characters and things like that, and having a really good sense of what you want to have on there, and having a couple of really good coaches to help you with that. And you know, because it's not like, you don't really want to do, especially an animation demo, you don't really want to go in and not have material to work with. You want to have at least, you know, 12 to 15 really good characters that you can draw from, and that you can alter slightly, so that, you know, if a casting director says to you, okay, now I want you to be you know, a 97-year-old grapefruit who's stuck in an elevator and he's going to play tennis, and then he has an appointment to get juiced after. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have nothing to pull from. Okay, like, hold on, let me pull from this like old character and this one. You know, you have to be able to throw those things together. I love doing that. That's definitely my area of specialty. So I love helping people get their character work together. So that's kind of fun.
Nice.
So you have
just before you move on, I just wanted to throw in that I think no matter which area of voiceover you work in or you want to work in, it's all acting. So all voiceovers is acting. That's my kind of big thing that I've started kind of putting out there. All voiceovers is acting, and I think it's really important to get some acting training.
Oh, absolutely.
So even if you are just going to be doing medical narration, that takes you, you know, you need to interpret the script. So being able to do improv is really, really important. So I would recommend anybody in voiceovers or wanting to get into voiceovers to go and do some improv, to do some acting classes. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Without that, you're really not going to go anywhere, because I actually even think that improv is more, initially, I think improv is even more important than formal acting classes to start, in my opinion, just for the simple fact that it helps you to get out of your head.
Yes.
And then or do them simultaneously, be in an acting class and then also take improv if you can do both at the same time. Because I think that I took an acting class, you know, one of my acting classes I took had an improv segment to it, and I really struggled through it, you know, and then I took just improv, and they were like, okay, here's where you need to work on. You need to get out of your head, and just getting out of your head, you know, that's so important, not only with animation or talking toys, but with any kind of voiceover. You can't be stuck there. You can't have it in your head like, this is the only way I'm going to do it. You have to be open to taking direction. And I think some people go into it and they're like, oh, I can talk, so I can be a voice actor. Well, that's not the case. You have to actually be an actor first, like you said. That's the most important aspect of it.
Definitely.
So do you have any workshops, trainings, conferences coming up that you'd like to tell us about?
Yes, there are. There's lots coming up. I'm going to start by saying that I'm coming to your conference, the Mid-Atlantic Voiceover Conference, which is, I'm so excited, and I can't wait to meet everyone. So the date is the 9th, 10th and 11th of November. That's right, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So if you haven't got your ticket, get your ticket, because it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for that. I've got lots of exciting things that I want to share. So I'll be doing talks, and I'll be running workshops, and you'll get to meet me. We'll have a stand, so you can come and meet me there. I'd love to meet you. And then obviously the Voiceover Network, we have lots of things going on here as well. We've got, what have we got coming up? First weekend of May, we have Mary Lynn Wisner and Jeff Howell coming to London for our commercial and promo workshop weekend, which is very, very exciting. We've got a Friday night event, Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday one-to-one. So that's all on the website.
Awesome.
And then on the 22nd of June, we have Get Your Game On, which is a very special event, which is all about video games. So it's an event which is about promoting great voice acting in video games. And again, it came from me looking at the industry, looking at the events and thinking, why there's loads of video game events out there. Why are there no video game events that are focused on voice acting? Because voice acting is such a key component to the success of a video game. So that's why I started Get Your Game On 3 years ago. 2016 was the first year. Then we had it last year. We had Dave Fenoy last year. And this year we've got Cissy Jones coming to London. It is in London. Yeah, we've got Cissy Jones, BAFTA award winner. We've got Tom Keegan, who is BAFTA nominated mocap director. He's amazing. We've got Randall Ryan, who is an amazing casting director in video games. And we've got some others that we're going to be announcing next week, actually. So that's on the 22nd of June in London, and there's going to be an intensive weekend as well that you can opt in for, but that's going to be incredible. So if you can get to London on the 22nd of June and you're into video games or you work in video games, you should come, because it's going to be amazing. So yes, I've got those, and then I'm going to throw in 22nd, 23rd of September in London, just outside of London. We've got Above and Beyond, which is our 2-day conference. So yes, there are a few things going on.
Just a few.
Yeah. And we've got some online stuff as well. So come to the website, thevoiceovernetwork.co.uk, and enter your details to join our mailing list, and we'll keep you up to date with all the things going on. And if you want to purchase any tickets for anything, then it's all on the website. So yeah. But number one is come to Mid-Atlantic. Come to Val's event, because that's going to be incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, so check out all of the information that Rachael just talked about at her website. That's thevoiceovernetwork.co.uk. Yes. And we will put the link for that in the description below this video. Yay. And thanks to everybody for watching, and thank you, Rachael, so much for being on Live with Squacky. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and we're so honored to have you at MAVO 2018 on November 9 through 11 in Herndon, Virginia, with our keynote speaker, Kari Walgren, and a bunch of other amazing guest speakers. We're really excited about it, and we hope that you can come. So if you want to check out details of that, you can go to midatlanticvo.com and check out all the details to register. Thanks for watching, guys.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. Bye.